Welcome to Firearms of America. Today, as you guys can see, I have New Balance in front of me. Yes, and these are the trail running shoes from New Balance called Fresh Foam Hierro version 5. Alright, so if you guys don't have time to watch the whole review, let me tell you guys, it's fairly decent trail running shoe. Good price, currently only $78 on Amazon. The link is in the description below. I do like the overall comfort. The fit is a little bit on the wider side, and they do run a little bit on the smaller side. So keep that in mind. If you prefer a wider fit, and if you are getting the shoes, make sure to get yourself bigger, because they do run on the smaller side, not very true to the size. But if you do have time to watch the whole review, let's get into it. So as some of you already know, this review is specifically for my Ultimate Survival Boots section, even though this is not a boot. But if you were in a survival situation, right, something bad happened, and 2020 has been pretty crazy, a lot of bad stuff happened and is still happening, right? So you can use your imagination. And these are the shoes that you were wearing, and you had to walk, you had to run, you had to fight, do whatever is necessary to survive. Would this be good shoes to survive in? So how do we make the judgment? We make the judgment based on 8 different criteria. Let's begin. All right, criterion number 1, of course, is the comfort level. And in order to test the comfort level of all the boots, all the trail running shoes that I review on this channel, I do a 3-mile run without stopping, and then a 5-mile walk, again without stopping. And the total wear time is about 7 to 8 hours. I wear it for the rest of the day. Like I said, overall, pretty good comfort. There are a few factors that contribute to the comfort and take away from the comfort. Let's start with the very first one, of course, the weight, right? The lighter the shoe, the boot, the easier it is to run for longer, to walk for longer. And these are only 12.9, which, I mean, is impressive in a way for this size of the outsole that you probably already noticed, which gives you a lot of protection from, all the stuff that you might encounter on the trail. So that's pretty good. Very impressive. Now, whenever it comes to the weight, to give you kind of a reference, I always say that you want something that is under 20 ounce. If you want something that you can run in, walk in for extended periods of time without feeling the fatigue from the weight on your feet, under 20 ounce. And this is obviously, only 12.9. Pretty good. There are a few other factors that contribute to the comfort level. And that would be one of them, the inner sole, which I do like a lot. It's nicely shaped, as you can see. There is really not much cushioning going to it. It's fairly thin. But because this shoe has a very thick bottom sole, it takes on a lot of impact for you whenever you're running. If you are running improperly, especially putting the heel, too much stress on your heel, overall this shoe does a pretty good job at taking and absorbing that impact. And at the same time, even though the outsole is so thick, it's it's really, really flexible. So you can definitely run properly in these shoes without any problems, without putting that stress on your ankles and on your knees. And of course, we do have some padding that is going on throughout the shoe. Of course, the material itself, very soft, so you do have a very nice feel whenever you're wearing. Just one thing to keep in mind is that they do run on the smaller side. Get yourself the right size. And that is a wider fit, a more open spaced toe box. Now, some people don't like it. If you like it, keep that in mind. If you don't, then don't get it, because you might not enjoy the comfort. Comfort is one of those kind of like a personal preference, right? You want the shoe to hug your foot nice and tight or not. Personal preference. But overall, on the comfort level, I think pretty good. Let's move on to the criteria number 2, proofing and protection. Now, these shoes don't have much to offer whenever it comes to the proofing. They're not waterproof, but honestly, in this size trail running shoes, I don't see the point to be waterproof, honestly, because there is really not much distance from the ground. If you step in a puddle, just anything little that gets into it, it'll make you wet. So there's really not much point. In fact, I would have something not waterproof, but something that dries up faster whenever it comes to the trail running shoes. Whenever it comes to the protection, again, there's really not much to expect. There is this protective toe design, which honestly, it looks like it does nothing, but it actually, compared to this regular fabric, this adds up a sufficient amount of protection here in the front. I just wish that it was going a little bit higher up here to give you more protection for the toes, because from the top here, I mean, it's extremely soft. But this is actually pretty good. So maybe in the version 6, New Balance will make this a little upgrade. Would be nice. There is, of course, not much protection going on in the ankles. They're open, and the heel is nicely reinforced with this nice piece of material, which I think would have been so good if they implemented it here on the front to give you more of the protection. But again, you know, it's really preference. Do you want something lighter, or do you want something with more protection? All right, let's move on to the criteria number 3, quality and the design features. Now, New Balance is a very popular brand. In fact, these shoes on Amazon, the link is in the description below. Check it out. They have over 1,300 reviews on Amazon, almost 5 stars. So people do like these trail running shoes a lot. Yes. Now, whenever it comes to the design features, usually I talk here about the lacing system, and you probably noticed there is really not much. It's 4 pairs of regular fabric hooks. The strings are flat. They don't slide very easily through these hooks, but it's really no big deal. The only kind of a complaint or maybe a misunderstanding that I'm having with the design of the shoe is this piece right here. I don't know if there is really any functional purpose to it. I'm pretty sure there isn't. But because it is disconnected from the tongue, to me, this just has this little flappy thing. And this right here and this right here, sort of a tripping hazard, especially on the trail if you're running through, let's say, not a very nice trail, right? You're running through actual trees and the tall grass, and you're doing some more or less serious trail running, you know, and not just walking through, you know, a nice tarmac somewhere in paved trail, right? This is a tripping hazard, and honestly, it makes harder for you to tighten. And even as a design feature, it kind of looks, I think it would have looked much better if this just wasn't here at all. Well, again, maybe in version 6 they will get rid of this or make it part of the tongue. Let's move on to the criteria number 4, outsole traction and stability. And this is a Vibram outsole. Now, Vibram is a very popular brand of outsoles. They make it for a lot of, it's not unique to New Balance. There are a lot of boots and trail running shoes that implement Vibram outsole. They always, I can't say always, but for the most part, they do a great job, and no exception here. Besides it being so flexible and giving you sufficient amount of protection, because this rubber is very tough, it gives you excellent traction and stability. This is a very good outsole. It has a great balance between aggression and balance, and whenever I test my shoes, whenever I do my run, I run through different surfaces. I start with the older asphalt, newer tarmac, then dry sand, wet sand, dry grass, wet grass, rocky road, trail surface, obviously, and of course I finish up with some shiny surfaces like marble and tile. This performs great on literally everything. It has good balance of aggression, good aggression and the flatness. The design pattern is very good, and you can tell that it was designed specifically with the trail running in mind. Very good. The only thing I'm not a fan of here, again, it might be the personal preference, but I am not a fan of these right here. I mean, you can just cut them off, honestly, if you don't like them. But again, to me, this is a tripping hazard right here. Again, this is really personal preference. So just my opinion. But overall, the outsole is really fantastic. Let's move on to the criteria number 5. Very briefly here, the temperature. Obviously, these are not designed in any way for anything cold. These are for nice and warm temperatures, and I've tested that in a nice and warm 95 degrees weather here in Florida, and they are very breathable, so very light, very breathable. So for running, you're definitely not going to overheat Great stuff. Let's move on to the criteria number 6. Again, briefly, sizing. Like I said, they do run on the smaller side, so get yourself at least half a size bigger. I would probably recommend going the full size bigger, but again, play around with the fitment. Compared to literally all of the other, not all of the other, but most of the other shoes that I review on this channel, the size 10, it was a little bit small. And usually the size 10, whenever I get my boots, has to be a little bit of that extra space in the toe box. Keep that in mind. Criteria number 7 now, the balance of application. So if this really was your ultimate survival shoe, right? Not the boot, but shoe. And something bad happened and now you had to run, you had to walk for miles and miles and wear these shoes for days without taking them off. Would they be a good option for the survival? Honestly, I wouldn't pick them, obviously, because first of all, there isn't really any kind of protection in the ankles. There isn't really much protection in the toe box, and I do prefer lightness over the protection. But here, I think this wasn't designed with the protection in mind. I think these trail running shoes were not really designed with any kind of serious trail running in mind either. Now, don't get me wrong, the outsole can handle a serious trail run. But anything else, not really. Keep that in mind. Now, everything else, the comfort-wise, if you just like the look of these trail running shoes, you're not gonna get disappointed. Definitely, the quality is great, the comfort level is great, they are light, and like I said, I mean, probably the best part of this trail running shoes is the outsole, so you will definitely appreciate that. And the very last criterion, let's talk about that really quickly, is the price. This is another pretty good factor about these trail running shoes. It's currently $78 on Amazon. The link is in the description below. I think it's a really good price. There isn't really a lot of stuff out there, especially with the Vibram outsole, in that price range. I think New Balance did a pretty good job, and I think this is one of the reasons why these trail running shoes are so popular on Amazon, and they have so many reviews, because the price is really attracting for everything these shoes have to offer. So let me know in the comments below, guys, what you think about these trail running shoes. Would you consider them as your ultimate survival boots, right? Would you consider them as your trail running shoes? Yes, no, let me know. If you have any requests, drop them in the comments below, and I always look out for those. If I come around stuff that is requested, I do that first as a priority. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. This was Firearms of America. I'll see you guys in the next video.